My podcast name is Unorthodox. Why Unorthodox? It is basically for people who intend to do different, like varying from the conventional path. So yeah, I have yours.
Okay.
I think it's visible. Yeah.
And have you seen Karnataka and Andhra fight, saying that we are better in quantum? Okay, this has never happened, and I don't know which other country this happens in. It is happening in India. Okay, these are amazing times. This is the time where if we miss this, we will be kicking ourselves, and I don't know what to do. I'll go. Don't say cut that out. We shouldn't be saying those things. But all I'm saying is that we can't miss this one because everything is so well aligned for us today.
Young people as well watching this, even people who are already professionals as well, even they can be part of quantum. I also remember suggesting a few law people as well that you may get cases based on quantum as well. Like there's a lot much involved, like in terms of what do you say, proprietary ownership and so on and so forth.
So as I said, what word can I use for them except mad? I have no words for these people except calling them mad people. Okay, they are like mad people. You can pick up the call and call anytime. Okay, anytime, midnight, 4 a.m., 3 a.m. I don't know when these people sleep. Okay, that also gave a lot of the basic sciences students who really wanted to do basic sciences, but they sort of saw that all the jobs are in IT, so you got to move into that. But now I see students who love physics, who love mathematics, who love biology, chemistry, feeling that there is something where I can now just be myself. I don't have to be somebody else. I can be what I love to be, and I can now contribute very, very meaningfully, very, very strongly.
You mentioned about a person called as Chaitali Shah, where she basically stated, if basic sciences were more valued, I would have never pursued engineering.
Government, among the youth, everywhere there is that newfound energy, that craziness, madness to make things happen. And so this is the generation that's going to do it, your generation.
You people, like irrespective of whatever difficulties we faced as a nation, we were a third world country and still in some parts be so, but you people never gave up. Like you fought for our, like this kind of stature we are, like whatever stage we are doing in today's world, whatever economy we have developed. And I think so it will be the responsibility of my generation to do that, like ultimate thing where India should have been right from day one. Isbar night show night. So that's what we'll have it.
What I really feel is, I don't know, you watch cricket?
Live in Bengaluru. I'm originally from Karnataka. I'm a Kannadiga also. Like I like this fusion. Like there's Kannada, there's Telugu, there's other Indian languages. Like that's what India is ultimately about. You can't limit it to one faction, one group, one language. The more we democratize, the more we spread. Like I myself am a mix of multiple languages. So there were these other revolutions as well, be it AI, be it semiconductors, there was nanoelectronics. Even in the 1990s, we came to a stage where we could have boomed, but something went wrong, it didn't happen. Like what were those obstacles that we got stuck? Why couldn't we like leverage these revolutions, be it semiconductors, be it electronics back then, now AI? Mentioned, sir. Like my thing has been simple. I'll just urge for the people watching this podcast as well, like irrespective of that, whether you become that big CEO or not, like time has come, we must take risk. We have to do something apart from the conventional part. That is why, as I said, this podcast is unorthodox. So you stated this one thing, and that part I was like, I must do a podcast with you when you said that, because this mindset is very rare. Like people in India, they often don't speak about this, that you told it doesn't matter even if you fail. Like why is that important?
Yeah, because
take the world from another point of view.
failure cannot be demonized whether in our company or anywhere else. Failure is the norm.
जो आजादी की लड़ाई छेड़ रखी है उसे तब तक जारी रखना होगा जब तक हमें मुकम्मल आजादी हासिल न हो।
But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.
So it's a wonderful opportunity for me to introduce to all of you L Venkata Subramaniam sir. He has been pretty much a pioneer for me and pioneer for India's growth, for even the world, I would say, whatever contribution he has had. To simply put, I'll just say that he's the former IBM India quantum head, and he has had a humongous period, like about over 27 years. And I'm 19, by the way, so that goes way beyond. So he's recognized among India's 100 most influential people in AI by AIM magazine, Analytics India magazine, and featured in the MIT Sloan Management Review, India's top 100. It has also been highlighted by Mint as one of the four musketeers of India's quantum leap. With 38 patents over 150 research papers, he has been a juggernaut, I would say, in the quantum and AI technologies. He's currently actively involved and is the face of several quantum missions across the country, right from National Quantum Mission to Amravati's very own Quantum Valley. I personally had met sir back in July, August during Quantum India Bengaluru, which was India's biggest quantum summit, where I had the opportunity to ask him questions on offside of his session. And that mattered a lot for me because sir knew nothing about me, but he was very much willing and welcoming to record our conversation and spread this to the larger public across social media, which also received a huge response. I once again thanks sir for accepting to join this podcast. Before we proceed, before I tell who I am, sir, I hope everything is fine at this point. And I know you're quite a lot busy. You had the time to give, spend time here for this thing. So, are you right now in Delhi or how is it?
Yeah, so Abhishek, I'm in
Okay.
Delhi at home, and I want to thank you, first of all, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. As you said, you're just 19, and it amazes me that, a 19-year-old is has got such maturity, very solid thinking, and you are doing all this. And I've seen all your podcasts and the videos that you post, amazing content that I know keeps everyone engaged. Okay, so I'm really happy to that you invited me here to join your podcast. Thank you so much.
It's my honor, absolute honor. So, for the larger audience, I'll just tell who I am. I'm Cherry. I'm 19, founder and host of Cherry Estates, which is basically a content creation enterprise where I spread content about technologies such as AI, quantum, sociopolitics, so on and so forth, basically with an intention to make India and the society around us an awareness and solution oriented one. So that's what basically is. And my podcast name is Unorthodox. Why Unorthodox? It is basically for people who intend to do different, like varying from the conventional path. So be it people like Steve Jobs, be it people like Richard Feynman, be it people like Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. They didn't go towards the conventional path. They did something different. And I must say about sir as well, he just retired, I think so, last year from IBM, and he's not done. He's reincarnating himself and is working on startups right now, aiding national quantum missions and multiple things. That's what this podcast is about, and it's an honor for me to have sir in one of the very first podcasts of this show. So yeah, sir, that's the podcast about. It is Unorthodox.
Thank you, and I'm glad you called me to this
Yeah, yeah.
unorthodox podcast. So it's a really nice name, and it brings a lot of thoughts in the mind. So it's
Yeah.
intriguing, nice,
So we'll
very good.
keep it simple, sir. We'll straight away begin with. And I think so. I have one thing to show you before that. I'll just show it to you. So yeah, I have yours.
Ah, okay.
I think so it's visible. Yeah,
Thank you, thank you.
yeah,
Yes,
I
I'm
read the
glad
whole
you
thing. Yeah,
went
we'll be
through it.
discussing on this as well.
Right.
But we'll start from first principles. Like what's quantum, why does it matter now, and why there's so much hype around it. What does it mean for basically the public around us, citizens from India and the world? So yeah.
Thank you. So, Abhishek, this is a very fundamental question, as you said, that you're asking. So, till now, all our compute has been using these zeros and ones, bits. The fundamental unit of computation on your mobile phone, on your laptop, on the supercomputer, everything has been zeros and ones. Okay, that's what computing has all been about so far. And of course, as you know, Moore's law, every 18 months compute power has been doubling. We've been packing more and more transistors onto the semiconductors, and this exponential increase in compute power has been happening for several decades now. Okay, for several decades we have seen computers evolve. Our phones, every year there is a new version of the phone that comes out, which is more powerful, better camera, better apps, faster apps, all of that. Okay, now quantum computing for the first time is a new branch of computing. Okay, it is no longer an extension of the zeros and ones based computing. Okay, so for the first time in history we have two types of computers now, two types of computers. One is your classical compute using zeros and ones, where the fundamental unit of information is 0 and 1. And now the quantum computer is a completely different kind of computer. It does not use the technology which the classical computer uses. It does not use the same silicon and the same connects that it has, the same transistors. No, no zeros and ones. Now this is a new kind of compute where the qubit, bit 0 and 1, qubit, the qubit can take on values. All values 0 and 1 combinations are possible. Two qubits, two bits cannot be connected, but two qubits can share information. Two qubits, three qubits, four qubits, five qubits, they can all share information between themselves. Okay, and what this means is you can now do things which your classical computers can never do. Things like simulating nature. Nature is also not binary, nature is quantum, and hence this quantum computer can model things like molecules. It can model phenomena like photosynthesis. It can model things like whatever molecular reactions that happen. And what that really brings is that for the first time you are now able to do things which you were doing in test tubes. Medicines, you take in one test tube diseased cells, in other test tube a potential medicine molecule. You see how it reacts. You take it to mice, you take it to monkey, you take it to dog, then you finally take it to humans. All that taking 10 years. If we are really able to simulate on these quantum computers the molecular reactions which take place in all of these, we can speed those kind of things up. New biodegradable plastics, new EV battery materials. So the potential and the promise is immense. Okay, immense potential, immense promise. And mathematically, some things have been shown. For example, Shor's algorithm showed that prime factorization. What is prime factorization? Prime factors of 15, 3 into 5. Prime factor of 100, 10, 2 into 5 into 2 into 5. These kind of things where you take a very large number, a 2048-bit integer, it will take you billions b with a b of years to do that factorization for a 2048-bit integer. But for a quantum computer, this would take a few hours. Exponential increase in processing time power. Okay, exponential decrease in the time taken. Billions of years versus few hours. Okay, so these are the kind of things. Some of these have already been mathematically proven in the form of algorithms. Shor's algorithm shows that you can actually do this kind of factorization. Recent results are showing that molecular simulation for small molecules on the 100 plus qubit computers which are available today is possible. And just like Moore's law, quantum computers are also scaling exponentially, which means that in the coming few years, we are going to have the power of quantum computers to solve some of these unsolvable problems using classical computers. So that's why so many governments, so many VCs, so many, um, defense organizations, everyone is very, very keenly watching, and not just watching, investing also.
Yes, sir. That's a very straightforward way we can put it, as there are actual applications that will matter for today's world and the world that is coming tomorrow. And quantum is doing something which classical couldn't do, and that's what we are looking for, to solve problems that we can't do classically, and that's what the potential quantum holds for. Thank you for putting that into perspective. Now, moving forward, what is this quantum surge that is beckoning across the country? Like, there's a lot happening for AI. Like, see, that's coming primarily from the West. But quantum, if I see, it's internally coming from India. Like, the surge is coming from Andhra Pradesh, from Karnataka, from UP, across the country. I mean, what is happening? What are these missions? What is this valley that is coming up? What are these quantum computers that they want to install in?
Actually, it is amazing what is happening, and I don't see it in any other country. Okay, I must say, I was part of IBM. I could see globally what is happening in certain countries. And this kind of groundswell, grassroots level interest is not happening. Okay, it's not happening anywhere. And I must give the credit to young people like you for this, because something is exciting young people like you to say that, here, what is this technology? I'm very curious. And for the first time, this is not limited to only the computer science students. Okay, now I'm seeing physics students, mechanical students, electrical engineers, chemistry students, biology students, all of them saying, I want to do something in quantum. And I also feel, it's got something to do with our own, philosophies, where we thought take uncertainty to be something which is very natural, in our scriptures and all. Uncertainty, multiple states, all of these, even entanglement, all of these are very natural phenomena if you look at our scriptures, holy scriptures which have been coming down from centuries, and so I get the sense that people are able to instantly connect to something like quantum, where it takes time for others to understand what is quantum, or even to accept. Even Einstein never accepted that, phenomena, like he used terms like God does not play dice with the universe, um, quantum spooky action at a distance, that's what he called quantum entanglement. So, but these are very naturally, accepted by Indian youth, I'm seeing, and they're exploring the mathematics behind it. They're trying to figure out, how does this phenomena happen. And I think that's what is happening. And as I said, the credit all goes to youngsters like you. And India is a young country today. More than half of our population is under 30. So young people, if they accept something, it takes virality, it takes a life of its own.
Yeah, definitely, sir. I really like thank you for those kind words. Like, it means a lot for me. My only intention has been like whatever I could do from my side, like apart from academics, apart from that, is like spread this quantum consciousness. That is the very reason of this podcast as well. So one important point you mentioned about where Einstein, like very famously quoted, "God cannot play dice." And I remember watching this video of Professor Dirac, where he says that, like, after repeated criticism, still the probabilistic interpretation has remained, and it has remained the only way in order to compute this quantum world. So that's something, like, it's not like instantly some people picked it up or something happened. This developed over the course of 100 years, like from 1925, from Heisenberg, Then Dirac in the 1970s, they finally reached to this conclusion. So that's really deep. And one important point you mentioned about it being interdisciplinary, this is what I wanted to share with the audience as well. Like I've personally sensed that we are moving towards a world of deep tech, where be it AI, be it robotics, be it nanotech, be it biotech, be it quantum, where it's not just about one branch now. It's about integration or amalgamation of multiple things, and you need everyone in that, because this deep tech is based on rooted sciences, natural sciences. We're getting back to those same sciences which brought us here, which brought the IT world. So how do you see this wave of deep tech happening, and the disciplinary thing you already mentioned?
Yeah. And in fact, I'm very happy, because when I studied, we used to have in the 80s, late 80s and 90s, we used to have labs where people would go with their hands, do things, make circuits, um, and build things. We would have workshop, we would have many things. But now I'm seeing, in the past 20 years, of course, India grew in the IT sphere, but that also, gave a lot of the basic sciences students who really wanted to do basic sciences, but they sort of saw that all the jobs are in IT, so we got to move into that. But now, I see students who love physics, who love mathematics, who love biology, chemistry, feeling that here is something where I can now just be myself. I don't have to be somebody else, I can be what I love to be, and I can now contribute very, very meaningfully, very, very strongly to a technology which is going to change the world. Okay. And that's a very, very strong thing, because I go to colleges, I meet mechanical students, I meet civil students, and they're also very excited now. For example, civil, we are building all these data centers now, clean rooms. For quantum, we need all these cryogenics to be put, all those very the flooring has to be very stable and all of that. So now we need those civil engineers also to innovate and to do these things for us, to build this new India where we are saying we will build hardware. We are already doing software, but now we are going to do hardware also, and we are going to build both software and hardware products coming out of our country.
Yes, sir. I'll get back to the hardware part. Like I have mentioned it extensively in the book. I really urge people about the book as well. I want to cover separate few minutes for that. Like you really showcased where India failed, where India had issues. I'd like you to touch upon them. But this is something I had inherently. Like you mentioned about a person called as Chaitali Shah, where she basically stated, if basic sciences were more valued, I would have never pursued engineering. This is what I've sensed recently also. Like there's this drop of, like, pretty much once you enter into this traditional, like I'm doing computer science, but I'm a very inherent, like I like physics, I like it a lot. Like how that magic happens, it's basically magic, like there's reasoning behind it. So I was basically wondering that what she stated, but practicality often decides our choices. But I think so quantum or be it robotics, these things give you a chance to get back at this natural sciences for this very student.
And even things like these, I go to colleges, and now the automotive mechanical departments are making cars, these electric vehicles and all of that. They are competing. You mentioned robotics. There are also, now I go to some colleges and they have space groups, where they're actually looking at liquid whatever fuel for rockets, and they're building all this. And that is so heartening to see, because you can't build a rocket without being interdisciplinary. You need the mechanical guys, you need the electronics there, you need the CS person. Everyone is like coming together, and it's so nice to see all the branches now getting together to get into this high tech, as you called it. It's very important. So quantum is one aspect, but even automobiles, these new electric vehicles, rockets, all of this, robotics, everything is now bringing back that focus to other branches, to hardware aspects, where hardware and software have to work together to make these systems work.
Definitely, sir. This is a wonderful opportunity to, like, sort of, I would say, unite and make all engineering one entity. So moving on further, like, I want to know these warriors, right, who are pushing this quantum mission, including you, these leaders, these juggernauts who are racing India towards the quantum age. Be it Professor Ajay Kumar sir from PSA, Dr. JB Reddy Garu from who is the director of National Quantum Mission, Abhay Karandika sir, head of DST, Ajay Chaudhary sir, chairman of NQM, founder of HCL, all these people, like, if you can throw light on who are these people, what are they doing, what drives them, why are they so obsessed that we should make India a quantum economy, a quantum nation?
Yeah, correct. So I have no words for these people except calling them mad people. Okay, they are like mad people. You can pick up the call and call anytime. Okay, anytime, midnight, 4 a.m., 3 a.m. I don't know when these people sleep. Okay, and I found a newfound respect for uh, people who are doing some of these things. I'll tell you examples. Okay, in Andhra, for example, I work, and he keeps saying, "Don't mention my name anywhere." Okay, so these are people who work in the background. Okay, one day I'll write a book about just these people, but I'll tell you, this person has done. He's an IAS officer. He has done history. His major in college is history. Now he's the person who's driving the quantum value initiative. Okay. Now this person, not a technical person, but he comes into the meetings and he adds value. He adds value, and he adds things that technology people, people who have done technology all their life, are not able to think. Okay, so and so motivated, so driven, 24/7. You can they are always on. I don't know when they switch off, when they go to sleep, when their family meets them. I have no clue. Okay, and these, so as I said, what word can I use for them except mad people? And their vision, to make Quantum Valley, for example, the biggest in the world. Okay, Dr. Reddy, I already mentioned in the book. I mean, and Dr. Reddy, Dr. Sood, Ajay Chaudhary ji, Abhay Karandikar ji, and all these people, they, as I said, I don't know what word to use for them, because they have been and so passionate about, and if of and they often meet these foreign people also who come to India, and the kind of and many of the foreigners will come and say, "Oh, in India there is no hardware." So they take all this feedback very, very seriously, and they make sure the next time that person comes, they are able to tell them that, "Look, you had that criticism of our things, we fixed it." Okay, and I can tell you, there is no other place, and I know many places in the world where quantum is going on. I don't see this kind of enthusiasm, drive, passion, and the biggest thing is talent. Okay, talent which young people like you are bringing. They, and I'll tell you, the IAS officers, the DST people, all of them are able to do all this because of that unlimited talent pool which we have. For example, I go and tell some kids that, these days all the quantum programming is happening in Rust. And then somebody comes back next week and tells me, "Look, Venkat, I picked up Rust now. Tell me a project that I can do in Rust." Okay. This kind of enthusiasm to do things, to make things happen, is an amazing thing. And the next 5 years are critical 5 years, because these 5 years, as a nation, we need to just drive forward, brute force, just move forward and make things happen. Because in government, in state government, central government, among the youth, Everywhere there is that newfound energy, that craziness, madness to make things happen. And so this is the generation that's going to do it, your generation, with whatever support is coming from these IAS officers, the scientists, and everybody else.
Yeah, sir, definitely. Like I've had this inherent call, like the first generation, your generation, you people, like irrespective of whatever difficulties we faced as a nation, we were a third world country and still in some parts be so, but you people never gave up. Like you fought for our, like this kind of stature we are, like whatever stage we are doing in today's world, whatever economy we have developed. And I think so it will be the responsibility of my generation to do that, like ultimate thing where India should have been right from day one.
Yeah, I- I'll tell you, when I graduated in 1991, there was no liberalization. We were a poor country. We were a poor country. Okay, that's the term for us. We were a poor country. Okay. But today, 2026, we are no longer that poor country which we were. So we are now a middle income, tending towards middle income, and among the top 3 4 economies in the world. Okay. The National Quantum Mission is putting 6,000 crores, and there is a call out for perpetually you can submit your startup proposal anytime. Within 2 months they will decide it and give you feedback. If you're good, they will give you money. Okay. So this kind of thing, it's an amazing thing that's happening now. From a poor country, we have come to this level now, where now things can be accelerated. This Vikasit Bharat 2047, it is really within your grasp. I remember um, APJ Abdul Kalam. He had this book, and I read it in the early 2000s. Okay, I even got it autographed from him. Okay, so that book, he said by 2020 India will become a developed country. Okay, we tried as a country. Okay, it didn't happen. But 2047, that milestone we are not missing this time. We're going to do it. Okay, by then we will become one of the top economies of the world. Areas like Quantum Valley will be thriving. They will be bigger. I mean, the vision of Quantum Valley, if you hear the chief minister, is to make Quantum Valley the biggest tech hub, bigger than Silicon Valley, bigger than whatever other valleys are there. And that's why the name was very carefully chosen, to say that Quantum Valley, because today all the tech hubs are valleys. You talk about Bangalore also as that, right? So all of that has to happen. And the launch pad, the foundation today is very, very strong.
Yes, sir, definitely. Uh, that shows the larger vision we hold, and this time it's real. It's very real, and it falls upon ultimately on my generation. I'll assure you, we'll do everything, like everything there is to it. Isbar night show na. So that's what we'll have it in ours. So moving forward, like in the part of it, we'll also have to learn where we went wrong in the past as well. Like we did the effort. There were, you spoke about hardware as well. You have a separate segment in the book which I came across, the curious case of adopting hardware and so on. So there were these other revolutions as well. Beat AI, beat semiconductors, there was nanoelectronics. Even in the 1990s, we came to a stage where we could have boomed, but something went wrong. Something, it didn't happen. Like what were those obstacles that we got stuck? Why couldn't we like leverage these revolutions, beat semiconductors, beat electronics back then, now AI?
Yeah, so we missed many revolutions, as you said, because I think our we started out as a poor country in those times. We could not invest much. Okay, at that time there were young people, Narayan Murthy, FC Kohli, many of these youngsters did well. I mean, youngsters then, now they are leaders, big people. But at that time they were young people, and yes, we could support some youngsters like that, but we could not support a large number of youngsters. Okay, we couldn't do it as a country. Most people had to go and take up jobs. Okay, they had to take up jobs. Now if you see, government is saying one entrepreneur per family, and for that entrepreneur, government is saying we will try our best to give you support. for your startup or your entrepreneurial idea. Okay, so now there is that opportunity for us to make those ideas come to life. Okay, that's what we have to do. We Indians were never short of ideas. We were never short of ideas. Because we could not support them, those ideas, many of them had to go abroad. They went to US, they went to Europe, they went to Japan, wherever they had to go, they went to make their ideas come to life. And they did make their ideas come to life. They did. You have many CEOs today in global companies who are Indians. Many of the foundational technologies like fiber optics, like the early processors were all Indians who did it. Okay, but they could not do it in India. That was our failure. Big failure of our country was we produced talent, huge amount of talent, but we could not give them that opportunity to flourish in India. But now we have talent. All of you young people is that talent. And now we have to give that opportunity also right here. Right here. And I remember in the early 2000 and all, I used to give lot of recos to students saying that I want to go to US. Sir, I just finished my BTech. I want to go to US. Give me a reco. And I would give lots of those recos to many people. They went to MIT, Stanford, here, there, all of that. Okay. Now, I don't get even one request. And that to me is a very good thing, because now the young people are saying, I'm not going anywhere. I think there is opportunity here for me. I think I can raise funding. I can land a job which is going to help my talent grow. Okay. So that in 20 years, it took us 20 years to reach that point where kids are now saying, I don't need a reco. I'm not going abroad. I'm here to stay and build my dream out. When a country reaches that level, you will see magic happen. And that's already happening.
Yes, totally. Like that very drive, right? Once you get that inherent drive, even if things get difficult, you'll stick on to it. Like that's what has been missing since you stated. Talent has always been there in India, but meeting that talent, even in a short
Yeah.
conversation, I remember the Indian market is not providing that space to leverage that talent. So in the drive of it, they go outside and all. But right now, that is changing thanks to National Quantum Mission and of course, visionaries like you who are leading from the front, who are reincarnating themselves just so that like India gets that second kind of push in itself.
And not just me.
Yeah,
So you mentioned, when we were beginning
yeah, yeah.
this Cube AI, there is Qbit, there is Confluence. There are so many of these startups now created by youngsters and who are now saying that I'm going to build my startup here and I'm going to build world class technology. Nothing doing. I'm just, because till now we always used to say, I will make cheaper, cheaper, cheaper. Now people are saying, I'll make cheaper and better. I'll make the best technology in the world. Okay, out of India. So that mindset, complete change in the mindset has happened. And young people, even the people with some experience, all of that, they're all now saying that I can build here. The talent is here, the money is here. Let's do it. And I think that's the driving force behind all of this.
Yes, sir, totally. So moving forward, what I wanted to know was like let's get back to on the quantum side. We have pretty much figured out where India went wrong and all. As quantum as a subject, now remember watching this podcast of Elon Musk where he was speaking about like he had an existential crisis. Of course, we all do have it in our lives. So he was pretty much having it when he was in his teen years, and even I was questioning the same. Like, why are we here? What is the purpose? What are we looking towards? How can we find the truth of what we are as a civilization? That's what AI is also there trying to replicate consciousness like human. But I feel inherently like AI is good, AGI or whatever we are racing towards, but quantum is nature, as you told. All nature is quantum mechanical. So in that process, I was just wondering, like Elon Musk in the podcast, he mentions that we are not even asking the right questions. Like he gives an example of a question, what is meaning of earth, and some random answer comes up like 42. That doesn't make any sense. So he was like, basically, I don't think we are asking the right questions itself. In order to ask the right questions, we need a bigger machine that is far beyond, and that is why we have to expand the scope of consciousness as a whole. So I was wondering, since quantum inherently deals with that very consciousness, how did my very own body form, or how did this world in its own raw element form apart from the classical? So can quantum be that gateway for knowing that machine, or developing that machine which will help us to decode this universe ultimately, the truth of this universe? How did it get manufactured in the first place, the creator or something?
Yes, so I mean, these are very deep questions, right, that you're asking already at 19, and that's great, okay? Because once you start asking the questions, as Elon Musk said, you will also then go and try and find those answers. Okay? So you'll try and find those answers. Now, the quantum world has been very difficult for any of us to understand, because in our physical world, we don't see any of that happen, right? You throw the phone is going to, based on the direction and the force and all that, you know where it's going to land. Everything is very predictable, very, understandable to our brain, right? Now, in the quantum world, all of this changes. You throw that subatomic particle, it's everywhere. Okay, it's everywhere. It's no longer intuitive. You don't know what's going on. It doesn't. You can't understand what is happening there. But that is why it is also necessary now to start thinking in a different manner. Okay, and that's why it's, like you mentioned, there is this need now for us to explore these questions and ask these new questions which don't happen in our this world. Okay, so we have to ask those bigger questions. And for example, drug design has always been now taking test tube, pouring there, and observing how it happens, right? Now you have a new tool in your hands. Okay, now I watch my daughters, they're 14, right? So the way they use AI is amazing. I see older people being afraid of AI, but I watch them saying, bring it on. I will use this AI, it will help me to do this. And I don't know, they 2 days back they were writing some songs, something they were doing, and then they said, okay, I'll take help of this AI thing also to create some tunes, whatever. So, people are now using these AI as a tool. And I just saw a headline yesterday somewhere, some mathematician, I forget the name of CS person, okay, somebody saying that he had solved using AI some unsolved problem, by asking the right questions to AI. Okay. So suddenly now we have tools in our hands, AI, quantum, all of these, where if we ask deeper questions, if we ask bigger questions, maybe those answers are there right in front of us. Okay. So it now offers us that opportunity to think bigger, to ask bigger questions, to build bigger things, to maybe, go to the moon, Mars, everywhere, to to make some of these things happen, which previous generations thought of as science fiction or something that cannot be, or maybe can't be achieved right now. They didn't think that it was achievable. But now we have technologies which are within our grasp. You can actually touch and feel and ask these things. And that technology, with that, you can now think bigger. And that's what, let's not limit ourselves anymore. That's really the point, of what you said, what Elon Musk was saying there, is really saying that let's not put any boundaries into our thinking. We now have some tools with us which can expand our thinking, which can make us think bigger, build bigger, and do bigger, unbelievable things. And again, you asked me earlier this question about the warriors, and that's why I call them mad, because they are also now thinking things which the IAS officer is thinking things which I'm not thinking. He's saying in history something happened there. Can we do this in this way? How can quantum make this happen? And he's posing those big questions which now the technology people have to go and ask. And what I really feel is, I don't know, you watch cricket, right? So in 2007, I think that's when IPL started. The thing that IPL brought, what it brought was, it brought young people like you, and it brought, our young cricketers, and it brought the big cricketers, of that time, whoever they were, Dravid, Tendulkar, all of them, into that one place where they were all playing together. And suddenly you see the level of that youngster raised overnight. He was able to, there was no, he thought that person is like a big guy with horns or whatever. And then he suddenly shared that dressing room with him, and he realized, wow, I can also do this. I can be the next Tendulkar, I can be the next Kohli, and now Sanju Samson, all of them in that small space doing things, and that changed Indian cricket. It changed Indian cricket. It changed the commerce of Indian cricket also. The amount of money that got generated. Unthinkable. Billions of dollars got created out of that simple thought of bringing together youngsters, old stars, and everybody together. And that generated money, it generated new talent, it generated so much. In quantum, I believe the National Quantum Mission is doing just that. It has created these hubs. Quantum Valley has gotten created. Q City in Bangalore is getting created. As you said, many states are trying to do things. What that is to me is that IPL happening in quantum. It is creating these spaces where people are coming together, the legends and the young guy who now sees, okay, there are no horns. It's real. I can do this, And that's what I think is going to change the face of quantum. Any deep tech, it's going to change it in the next few years. And that's what is giving confidence. I see young 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, people like you saying that, I think I'm going to register a startup now. Who says that? Okay. And I see young girls and boys like you saying that, I have some idea. I'm going to go register a startup, and I'm going to build something. Okay. And this is what is happening, and that is happening because of what is happening in these hubs that have been created, where everyone is coming together. There is no big guy, no small guy. Everyone is like just based on talent. Your talent is getting a voice. Your talent is getting life. That's
Yes, sir,
what's happening.
completely. The thing is, I'm working on one, like as you said, startup. Like I'm working on one, which will be soon in unveiling. So, that's something you rightly pointed out.
When I hear that, that means a lot. It means a lot to me to see a youngster like you, 19, teenager, saying, I'm
Yeah,
doing a startup. It means the country has changed. It means in the next 3 years, you're going to become making the change, giving employment, creating technology, innovation. The future technologies are going to come
yeah.
from you.
Rightly mentioned, sir. Like my thing has been simple. I'll just ask for the people watching this podcast as well. Like irrespective of that, whether you become that big CEO or not, like time has come. We must take risk. We have to do something apart from the conventional part. That is why, as I said, this podcast is unorthodox. And you also mentioned about the startups you're working now. Before proceeding to that, like there will be young people as well watching this, even people who are already professionals as well. Even they can be part of Quantum. I also remember suggesting few law people as well that you may get cases based on Quantum as well. Like there's lot much involved, like in terms of what do you say, proprietary ownership and so on and so forth. So can you suggest them, like,
Patent- patent-
yeah,
already patents, lawyers do
yes,
patents.
yes,
Okay. They write to every startup now saying I can do your patents now. So lawyers are in full business
yeah,
now.
everyone, there's a space for, I say it like all the time, even in as part of my Quantum initiative back at my college, that for everyone there's a space in Quantum. You have to just come in, learn the stuff and be in it. So proceeding forward, like if you can give your roadmap for beginners, uh, students or professionals, how they can transition. Do they need to go, like study the complete physics, or just what is relevant and just go with what is required, or how to go forward such that they can make
Yeah,
maximum use of this, yeah, irrespective of the domain they come from.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So whatever you are doing, if you're a CS person, pick any problem you are solving and see, can I solve it using a quantum computer? Can I solve it using a quantum program? As simple as that. Okay, anything, whether you're doing some AI problem, optimization problem, data science problem, just take that and try and see how can I implement in quantum. That's it. Okay. It's a very practical approach. Don't go start studying, entanglement, that and all. Because if you follow an approach where you have to build something, okay, if you're building something, let's say you mentioned your startup, if you're building something in that startup, you will go figure out whether physics is required, civil engineering is required, whatever is required, you will go and figure it out. So and that's why when I go to colleges, I see people call, clubs making rockets, okay, clubs making autonomous vehicles. And it is not, and here, in your college, you also are studying now, and you know that, for example, if you're a CS student, then you will be learning data structures, this one, that one. And now if you have to build a car, you obviously have to learn new skills which are in the classroom you're not learning. So take a very practical builder's approach where you're building something. Then if you're building it passionately, then you will find all the tools needed to go and solve that problem, whether it is quantum AI, automotive engineering packs, or whatever it is. You will figure it out, you will sort it out, and you will build it. Okay. And my advice to all the youngsters is to go do these kind of things. And also, if you're a CS guy, learn some physics. If you're a physics guy, learn some programming, because that skill where you are in yourself, if you have skills that can, do multiple skills, like I can go clean my bathroom today, I can go do my daughter's the next day, I can go and learn programming the next day. We are humans, we can do all sorts of things, but we have to feel the need to do it. My daughter, so I will do it. My bathroom, so I will clean it. I have to build some program, so I will do it. But if it's not something you want to do or you like, you'll not do it. Okay. So find that something you want to build, apply quantum, apply AI, whatever you need to build that. And this I heard from the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Sri Chandrababu Naidu. He said there are, you look around, there are so many things you can go and solve. Now, if you still in the middle of all these things you can solve, you are sitting here and saying, I need a job. Somebody has to give me a job. If if that's the only thing you want, you're missing the point. I sit in Delhi and there is pollution in winter, there is traffic all the time. If I'm not if 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 I build a startup to solve these two problems, nobody will come in. You don't then have to look for a job. You don't have to look for anything. You will be well funded. You will be taken care of. Everything will happen. So let's look for things to build. Okay, whether you use quantum for it, AI for it, whatever you use, but build something which is useful for two people. Maybe your father, your mother, your friend, your neighbor, your somebody has to feel this is something useful that you build.
Yes, sir, extremely true. And one important thing you stated, just like how IPL started from 2008 then till now, and the idea has been always to show up, display, and the crowd will carry you like there onwards. So that's been the core of it. Then the second part being where you raised, this was something I felt recently because I have been into multiple things in the recent times, like AI, robotics, quantum. Ultimately, I decided that you don't need to necessarily go in depth about everything. You have to just see what problem you're solving, and if for that you can solve it through quantum, go for it. Otherwise, you don't need to enforce or force yourself just to do that, because that very in itself will defeat the purpose of why quantum was used. Quantum was used for solving problems that you couldn't do classically. So that was being the idea. And I feel like whatever your interests are, go with it. Like if you want to go in depth, go with it. If so, in that process, you face any problem where you need quantum or you need AI, just go and learn what the part is required for it and implement it up. Get in people with who have expertise. And now with people with stuff like AI accompanying, although not perfect, but it does help you to quickly grasp things. So that would be a better modular approach.
Yeah,
I think so, because these things are like they take time to learn. Like I sensed it personally, AI, robotics, quantum, and your approach made a lot sense for me. Like do it if necessary, otherwise just
yeah, and this modular approach, beautiful word you used. Okay, and you look at cricketers. They all have rough patches. Okay, what do? They go and take help. They go ask the legend or this guy or that guy because they have to solve it. When you go into that field, all that matters is performance. If you're building something, all that matters is whether you built it. Nobody will come and ask you that, oh, why did you talk to 10 people? Why did you take help from that guy? No, nobody will come and ask you that. All they will say, as you said, the crowd will carry you. They will carry you. Okay. You just, your job is to build. It doesn't matter whether you take help from 100 people or 10,000 people or who or that guy or this guy or what you did, it doesn't matter. But please build that thing which is important for people.
just an offside question. We spoke a lot about cricket. I just wanted to know who's your favorite cricketer or something. Like former, like people who have retired or existing. You can say both.
Okay, when I grew up, okay, so I wanted to be Kapil Dev. Okay, that was my
Okay.
life's mission to become a
Okay.
cricketer. Okay, but of course, I never became a cricketer. But yeah, now the young people. I mean, you look at every guy. Bumrah, amazing. You know that
Yeah,
bowling he did in this last,
he also has an
mind blowing.
unorthodox
You
style
know,
of bowling. Yeah, not the conventional.
yes, yes, very true. And look at, I mean, that skill that he brings to the game. And this is something, another, very important point. This was one of my
Okay.
managers. He said, Venkat, all of us have one thing which we are good at. Lata Mangeshkar, she's every day, irrespective of whether it rains, what happens, at least 2 3 hours she will do, because her thing is her voice, singing. You go to any cricketer, every day he will go and practice, doesn't matter what happens. And he told me, you Venkat, you are a programmer. You every day you have to program 2 hours in your life, because that's what is grounding you. So all of us have to find that thing which we are good at, and we have to keep doing it repeatedly every day, because all the great people, that's all they do. Kapil Dev, they do, today's Sanju Samson to Bumrah to everybody, and in between the Kohli, all the people. That's how it works. Life works like that. You have to have one core skill which you will every day, doesn't matter what happens, you have to do it. You have to do
Yes,
it.
sir, definitely. So right now you're living in Delhi, right? Yeah, so I know air pollution is a like a big thing there. So can quantum be the solution there? Like how do you see that?
Yeah. In fact, we are now, so there is this another crazy team we are working with called the Quantum AI team. It's an organization called ISRO, ISRO. Replace the S with AI. IRO. Okay, IRO. So these IRO people are trying to create the ISRO of AI in India, right? Um, so one of the topics that is being discussed is this whole thing about modeling of these very complex systems like wind, cyclone, avalanche, flood, all these things. And at the base of this is computational fluid dynamics, basically complex equations that you have to solve, which today cannot be solved on your classical computers. Okay, so even things. So, for example, when you are building a car, Maruti has a wind tunnel where they have that where they move the car and they observe how is the the air dynamics around it, right? So all of those things. Now, let's say you are building a ship. So for a ship, that thing in the sea is very hard, or building a submarine even harder. So all of these, if you were to build a model for it, a mathematical model, and the same thing applies for um, whether it is modeling of avalanches or climate or anything. I don't know if you know, but during the peak pollution this year, IIT Kanpur tried to do rain seeding here in Delhi. It didn't succeed. Okay, but these are things which we have to do because we will not stop industrialization in our country. We have to do it. We have to become, we have to have manufacturing. We have to have things. So yes, there will be some pollution. There will be lots of pollution, but we have to sort it out. We have to figure it out. How do we solve these things? Yes, this year rain seeding did not work, but can there be better models we can work out which will make sure that rain seeding next year works during the peak pollution season? So these are some problems which some of these crazy people have now begun looking at. Okay, so hopefully we will solve some of these problems. National Quantum Mission is also funding projects for algorithm development. Okay, and what are algorithms? Algorithms are things which run on computers and solve problems like these: CFD, climate change, avalanche modeling, flood modeling, modeling whether rain seeding will work, all these things.
Yes, sir. Totally. So I wanted to switch to this aspect of entrepreneurship and startups. Like you have covered a lot in the book. Like it did give me a lot of reality check. Like I really wanted that, and like how I also want the audience to know, like where there's this thing in India that once you get to a branded college like the IITs, NITs, IISers, or top private colleges, that you get some sort of secured position that you're able to pull up. What do you say? A lot of things. That is true, but you have successively stated how people with ambition, actual background, actual research, they aim to do startups, like, but they didn't get that support initially. Be it people from ISER background, so on and so forth. So like I wanted to tell the audience, like if you can share view that how it is not just about the tech, like entrepreneurship in general, like it requires an extraordinary amount of effort, and there are people already putting that. And ultimately, how do you see that as like the struggles of entrepreneurship here in India versus the West, San Francisco, and how you are also tackling them? You can also bring up the work you're doing, which it would be an honor for me to feature that as well on my channel. So yeah.
Sure. Yes. So money is still tight in India, but not as tight as it used to. Okay. Now, if you have a decent idea, I know of VCs sitting with $1 billion fund. billion US dollar fund, okay, where they're saying, I want to invest in startup ideas from here. Okay. So there is a lot of money right now in the ecosystem which which is lying there for startup founders to pick up. Okay. Yes, it's not as easy as the Silicon Valley or some of the other areas where money is much easier to get. Okay. You can get money with just ideas, whereas here you need prototypes or something to be built and shown. Okay. So all that is great. Okay. But as a founder, I will like to tell you that many founders I see say that I will build this, and they are not concerned about who's the user of that. Who is am I able to find it? You don't need too many users. That also I'll tell you. You need to at least find 3 or 4 people who will say, yes, I think I can use this. If you build this for me, I will take it. I will use it. I might pay for it. Okay. And that user can be your dad, it can be your mother, it can be your sister, whoever. But the founder cannot say my job is just to build technology and then I'm done. No, that's not the end of it. That's the beginning of it. You begin the day you have some technology built, because then you have to go and find the users for that technology. You have to convince people that what you built is useful. What you built can help them solve something better, do something more easily important, and reach that next level. And often I find founders lacking that. Okay, not and I'm not just talking about young people. I'm talking about people who have been in industry for several years. They are 30 years old, 40 years old, 50-year-old, and then they say that I'm building this. And then they say I have built it. And then they say it's the best thing. Why is nobody taking it? No, your job is not finishing at that stage. You need to find those people. I know of founders who are building things, but they can't explain to their sister or brother or anybody in their house that what are you doing. If you can't explain it to them, what is the point? What are you building then? Who is going to use that? It's not important to chase the shiny objects. What is important is that object that you have made is something which brings value to somebody. It needs to be useful for somebody. So if you start thinking at that level from day one, don't go after saying that I will build the most complex technology. Recently I was talking to this AC manufacturing company owner. Okay, he told me that I don't remember how many years back, 25, 30 years back, at least 20, 30 companies started their journey to make ACs in India. ACs, okay. 90% of these companies said, I'm going to start with the toughest part of this AC, which is the compressor. And as you can imagine, they're all gone. None of those companies survived. Those 10% of the companies said, I'm going to start with what I can build. I'm not going to build the more, because aura is not in saying that I built the most complex thing in the world. The most important thing is to say that I built something which people are using, people are finding useful. If you can say that, that's more important than saying that I built something very complex which only I understand, or which only 2 people in the world understand. It doesn't help. So as a startup founder, if you understand that, you will go and build something which is useful for people. You will figure out where to get the money. You will figure out everything. So leave your ego somewhere, go and build something which is useful, even if it is the most simple thing. Simple things will do it. And this lesson that the AC guy gave me is a very important lesson. It is not important to start with the most complex technology. It is important to start with something which you can build and which enables you to build something which you can take to people and they will buy from you.
Yes, sir. Like I would say that will be pretty much the highlight of entrepreneurship, I would say, because what you said is absolutely perfect. Because this is something I was, like thinking about, and also I came across this clip of Steve Jobs, like where he's basically questioned, like what has he done in the last 20 years, what awesome technology he has built, and he glows blunt about it, saying that, see, you have to start with the customer experience, with the user experience, whether the user wants it or no, then go with the technology. You can't be like build the technology and figure it out who wants it or who is having that necessity to use it. You can't do that. You can build awesome technology, but you have to start with the customer experience, with the user experience. I think so that will be the ultimate value of entrepreneurship, serving the customer, building what people want. And that is where there also it becomes very fundamental. Whatever problems we are trying to solve, we have to see whether we really need quantum for it, whether we really need AI for it. That's how you justify the thing rather than just going with the hype. Like two important takeaways I personally feel I had on this. So you can of course tell about the startups you're working, sir. Your 2.0 that you're doing reincarnated. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember you in this thing you said you had a calling. I also had a calling. Okay, late in life, not as young as you. Okay, but I had. Okay, the calling is now that we need to build in India. We need to make products in India. Okay, so this startup, Qbit Force, which some of us came together and built, where we are hiring some of the best talent from across the world. Okay, and what are we building? We are building open quantum hardware systems. Okay, where nothing hidden. It is the basic goal of this startup is to help others to build things. You know, if you look at your phone, has 100 components inside. It's not one person building all the components. Okay, you look at anything, your car. You look at the car, might be a Tata car or a Mahindra car or whatever, but they are not making every component in there. They are sourcing from others. So in a quantum computer also there are multiple components, and our goal now is to make every component out of India. And this is the beginning, because remember, the mobile phone of today versus the computer in the 1950, that one filled a room. This one is more powerful than that computer, and it's in your hand. Okay, so miniaturization has to happen, cost reduction has to happen, and for all of that to happen, you need a thriving ecosystem where everybody is building something, some component or the other. Today, quantum computers are black boxes. Nobody knows what is inside. You can't open it, you can't run it. We are saying, come and break this quantum computers that we are building. Plug out things, plug in your thing, make it happen so that in the next 3 years, we are making everything out of India, everything here. And that's our goal, to make everything here, to make that ecosystem thrive, to make young people who are saying, I can build some component, but what do I do? Where do I go and test it? Come test it on the Qbit Force quantum computer that is being built. And this is being done in partnership with everyone in India. We wanted this to be a completely made in India computer. Okay, so we've gone to DRDO, we've gone to CSIR, we've gone to ISC, we've gone to TIFR, we've gone to IUAC, everywhere where people are building things in quantum. We are saying, please come, let us integrate everything. Let's make India's first fully indigenous quantum computers to be launched on April 14th. Why April 14th? It's Ambedkar Jayanti, it's New Year's Day, it is Baisakhi, it is also Ambedkar Jayanti, and it's also World Quantum Day. So it's a beautiful day. So on that day, we are going to launch these two completely made in India systems, everything made in India. And what you are going to see now is this system is going to become bigger and bigger and bigger, with everybody contributing to it, and it becomes a world class system on its own. One person doesn't have to do it, two people don't have to do it. Anyone who is interested comes and does it.
That's really I think so. It will create that full stack approach which you are also mentioning in the book as well, which India lacked, be it in semiconductors and everything. And that's what we ultimately need to push, the software, hardware thing. And uh, I really must say, like the way you're getting back at it and launching your 2.0 is like, it shows like life can be much larger than itself. You don't need to limit yourself or be like, I'm done at this point or something like that. You can always keep getting back and doing something phenomenal.
Yeah. And one thing I've realized in my life is that I don't know much. I know a few things, but what we can all do is take a lot of help from others. And if we can just, work in a mission mode to build things, we have to build things. We can't be sitting in our own corner and saying, I'll do this, do that. If we come together like IPL, we create magic. We create the Bumrahs of the world. We create the Sanju Samsons. Or I'm only remembering the two people who made a lot of impact there. Okay, so there were others. There are great other cricketers also, I'm sure. I know. So that's what we want to do. We want to create this very thriving ecosystem. And see, even 3-4 years ago, India never took part in that AI revolution. There were no, you know, um, podcasters like yourself. There were no young people who were talking technology so openly, putting yourself out there. Because I know, Abhishek, for example, I wrote that book. I got a lot of criticism also, for that book. There are chapters which people said, "What rubbish? What are you writing here?" Especially that Indian, thing chapter, right? So, but it takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there. You come week after week, put your day after day, put yourself out there, ask questions. I'm sure some of your friends will be saying, what the heck, what questions are you asking? I'm sure it happens, okay. But it still takes that courage. It takes that thing that I'm going to make a change, I'm going to make a difference, and that's what you're doing. And that kind of, you know things where young people are standing up and saying, I'm going to bring about change. It doesn't matter. You can criticize me, but I'm going to come back stronger. I think that is the attitude which I'm seeing now, which is really the change making thing, which even 2-3 years back, honestly, it was not there. It wasn't there. You know, in especially in the tech field, it was not there. But in many other fields also it was not there. But now I see youngsters standing up and saying, here, I'm going to do these things. And you're, you know, uh, just putting yourself out there and saying that these are my goals. I'm going to achieve it. Maybe I'll fail. It's okay. But I'm publicly stating that this is something I'm going to do.
Like showing up yourself and putting it out irrespective of everything. And I have sensed that's how you can ultimately live larger than yourself, like do what more than what society expects you and satisfy that inherent calling, which is like, it's really great sharing with you that part as well. So there's this question, like at the beginning of the podcast you told about show's algorithm, right? And people always see that, is there a chat gpt moment out of this, is there an iphone moment out of this? Irrespective of that, I have read about Qday, and if you can share a view on that Qday, that thing that is going to take place, how is it going to be, and why it is so massive that people have to care about it, and how India has already been doing it, and compared to other countries, if you can share that.
Yeah. So long before you were born, there was another day called the Y2K day. Okay. That was the day the millennium, the century change, 2000 happened. Okay. So on that day, all our computers, nobody thought that computers that we have will be lasting more than 5 years, 10 years, whatever. Okay. And they never thought that the date needs to go beyond the year nine, the last day of that century. Okay. So as a result, the computers were going to break. Okay, so then what did India do? India produced all these IT engineers, and across the world, Indians went and solved this problem. Now, Y2K is when the day that quantum computers can break today's encryption. All our Wi-Fi signals, this talk which is happening, your bank account passwords, everything is protected using cyber encrypted. Okay, so now Shor's algorithm, 1994, Peter Shor brought out this algorithm where he showed that if you build a powerful enough quantum computer, it can break this encryption. Okay, which is securing all our passwords and everything today. And that computer is almost there. We're getting there. Okay, where the quantum computer can run the Shor's algorithm and break all the encryption which is there. Okay. So that's called that day. That what day did you say?
Q
Um,
day, like D Day from World War II. Yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
the Q day, right? The Q day, right? So that Q day is approaching. So many people are now thinking, how can we secure our passwords, everything against quantum computers reaching that point? Okay. Now, you also mentioned this ChatGPT
Mm-hmm.
moment or the whatever moment for quantum, and that moment has to
Yeah.
come out of India. We can't have that moment come out of any other country anymore. Because talent is here, the startup money is here. You need to build that company which is going to bring out that quantum moment for the world. Okay, where you build something which is solving something which nobody else has ever solved. So please start thinking and doing things, because you can do it. You are that generation which is going to make that big thing come out of India. And that today, that quantum, big moment, that change. Because remember, AI, Nvidia today is the most valuable company in the world. But before ChatGPT, what was it? It was just a normal tech company. After ChatGPT, when somebody showed that, here is your the same GPU, that people are wondering, what do I do with this GPU except play games or whatever. With that GPU, somebody, you know, OpenAI showed that you can do wonderful things. ChatGPT came, and that day the Nvidia stock grew, went up, and it hasn't looked back. So similarly, in quantum, people might be making those quantum computers. Whoever is making, let them keep making. If you can make, please make. You also join that journey. But you are that. Think of yourself as that person who is going to build that app which is going to change the world. Okay, think very simple things like, India is now going to start an effort to build the quantum OS. Think about 1980. I know you're very young, you probably can't think there, but Microsoft, what did Microsoft do? They built the operating system. Before that, the PC was the most complex thing to use. Nobody knew how to use it. Then comes this young guy, builds the operating system for your lap, for your computers. And from that day, everyone uses a computer. Why? Because he made it so simple to use that computer. So today we all think about that as the D-Day for the day computing became mainstream. Okay, same way, one of the Indians is going to bring that change, which is going to take quantum from the labs today into mainstream, where everyone will use it and say, wow, I can solve these things which nobody ever thought of.
Yes, sir, totally. I'll pretty much wrap up this thing. So ultimately, if we see how India has positioned itself, where would you compare it with? Of course, the top countries in the quantum space, be it the United States, China, Europe, Japan, so on and so forth. Where would you see India being there, and what is next up for us? What is the next thing that we should be doing? Like,
Yeah. So I see no gaps or no flaws right now in India's journey. I see talent getting generated. I see enthusiasm in young people like yourself. I see the National Quantum Mission trying its best. I see, as I said, mad people in IAS and here and there. And they, have you seen Karnataka and Andhra fight, saying that we are better in quantum? Okay, that this has never happened, and I don't know which other country this happens in. It is happening in India. Okay, these are amazing times. This is the time where if we miss this, we will be kicking ourselves, and I don't know what to do. you know I don't know. I don't, no, don't say, cut that out. We shouldn't be saying those things, but all I'm saying is that we can't miss this one, because everything is so well aligned for us today, so well aligned. Okay, so nicely happening. Every opportunity is there. So let's just go grab this thing and make it happen, because if we don't do it, we'll be really regretting it, because and there is zero probability of it not happening, according to me. So let's make it
yes,
happen.
sir, totally. No, sir, like I completely get that. But I myself, when I was going through, like, even though I'm still young, I was going through this thing and I was rapidly like questioning me, why didn't we like leverage it? Beat AI itself. We could have done that. Like, why didn't we go for? Why are we waiting for something? And when you said that, like, if we don't go about this one, like, things will get really, like, I get that frustration. Like, you will have it more than that because you have seen it since more than 25 years what India could have been. But nothing is lost. We can still push for it and we can make that big leap. So, yeah,
Very good.
just if you can tell me about your book, like it's also available in English and Telugu. Telugu, which is my mother tongue. It is my mother tongue. So,
Yeah. And I'll tell you now, volunteers are writing in fact, they've completed Hindi, Sanskrit, and Kannada also. And those versions will also come out soon. Okay. And the crazy thing is, I'll tell you, that these people have added their own new chapters to this. Okay. So if you look at the Telugu version, it has a new chapter somewhere. Okay, in the end. Okay. You see the Kannada version, it will have new chapters. Unfortunately, I can't read either Telugu or Kannada, so I don't even know what they've written. But they have translated and they have added new chapters, which is really amazing. It has become open source now, where people are saying, here, I'll take this, I'll add more, and I'll put it out.
live in Bengaluru. I'm originally from Karnataka. I'm a Kannadiga also. Like I like this fusion. Like there's Kannada, there's Telugu, there's other Indian languages. Like that's what India is ultimately about. You can't limit it to one faction, one group, one language. The more we democratize, the more we spread. Like I myself am a mix of multiple languages. Like the college I speak Hindi, but my mother tongue is Telugu. But I'm a Kannadiga like by birth. So like that fusion, even for yourself, I think.
Yeah.
I think so. You're born
Yeah.
in the south, I guess, south of India.
No, I was born in Delhi, and my thing is, in all my life, I've lived 5-10 kilometers radius of my
Acha,
birthplace here
okay.
in Delhi. So I call myself a lifelong local, because I've never. For short periods, I go here, there to study, do these things, and all that. But like 80%, 85% of my life has been this small radius in Delhi, where I've lived all my.
So you're originally like your parents were also from Delhi and grandparents.
My mother
Uh-huh.
tongue is Tamil. So my mother, she grew up in Tamil Nadu, but my father, he studied in Andhra. So he's a Tamilian, but he studied in Telugu medium in Andhra and all of that. So yes, I mean, as you said, we are, and my wife is from Haryana. So we are all very, very, in India, that's our speciality. That's our
I would say
special force,
interdisciplinary from the
where we
beginning itself. Yeah,
yes, yes, yes.
yeah, totally. So with that, I'll just ask this one last question. Like, this is something I think so ultimately will matter. I remember you stating in one of the other podcasts of Natasha Akkar, like, I am very much of an admirer of her, Kiran. So you stated this one thing, and that part I was like, I must do a podcast with you when you said that, because this mindset is very rare. Like, people in India, they often don't speak about this. That you told it doesn't matter even if you fail. Like, why is that important? Like, why is that mindset important for a country like India? Why it doesn't matter even if you fail? Because failure is given as a tag here. They don't see the effort. So why that mindset is required? Why it doesn't matter even if you fail?
Yeah, because see, I mean, so I was recently, somebody told me about this book where, they whereas children, you're learning to walk. Okay, you're learning to walk, and you can ask your parents. You fell so many times. Okay, your parents would have held you with your hands and maybe left the hand sometimes, thinking, okay, maybe now today Abhishek will walk, and then you would have fallen, and you would have risen again. You would have fallen so many times. As children, it comes naturally to us. As a child, I used to run around with my friends. We would try jumping across some uh, things and all. Many times we would fall, but we would still keep attempting it. As children, it comes so naturally to us. It comes so naturally to us, and then as we keep growing up, we add boundaries, to ourselves. We say, I can't fail. I can't. If I fail, I can't be seen failing. Or maybe, recently, I was at this place, where at Chandigarh University, and this, I'm forgetting his name, a very, very popular person who's written multiple books. And he said, and this was on entrepreneurship, and he said that, let's say you want to go open a startup today, okay, and your parents are saying, beta, get a good package. That's the expectation from your parents. That's the expectation, okay. Now, or maybe not all parents, but let's say some parents, okay. Now, as a child, then you that's pressure on you. You're thinking, I need to go max out all the interviews, and I need to get that good package, so that I'm able to satisfy my parents or whoever it is. And he put it so beautifully. I'm not able to do it like that, but then he said, let's say you want to open a startup. Who are those two people who matter in your life? Or three people? Maybe it's your mother, maybe it's your father, maybe it's your sister. Can you go and ask them, "Ki, Mama, Papa, you know, I want to do this startup. Maybe I'll fail. I don't know. I have this thing in my mind that I feel I want to do this. Okay. And you go and do this, okay? And you tell them that I know salaries, maybe I can, go to a interview, and I know I'll crack it, I'll get a job. Now, if I'm sure your parents will say to you that, look, it's okay, no problem, you go and, or whatever they say. But the day they say that, your mind becomes free. You have removed a boundary from your life. That boundary which said to you that you need that job in your life, which gives you that whatever package, which sustains you, does this, does that. Because at the end of the day, all that matters is what you think, and those two or three, if you're married, your wife, your kids, if you're not, maybe your mother, your father, your brother, your uncle, whoever. But if they give you that permission, that's it. From that day onwards, you are free. You can go fail as many times as you want, because the people who matter to you have given you that license. And that license is all you need in life. That's it. Just go sort it out. And that was a very, very powerful message. I don't know if that recording is there. And why am I forgetting his name? Okay. Okay. So I'll send you the name later. Okay, when I remember it. But that's such a powerful message, that failure, it, to me, to you, anybody, it doesn't matter what that guy on the street or that fellow thinks about your failure. Failure only matters to you because you think that those 2 3 people that matter in your life, what will they think? Once you've removed that boundary out of your mind, you've had that discussion with your that loved person in your life. That's it. That from that day, all your boundaries are gone. From that day, you are fearless, bold. You have everything behind you. You have the power of your those loved ones behind you. Okay, and you will achieve it. And that's something, that you just gotta make it happen. Yes.
Very like that way that may take for us like to compute actually what you said, but ultimately the crux of it is that once you have the clear and right, you shouldn't be worrying much. Like you should do what you do. Ultimately, you're going to perish. This world in itself may perish after beyond a point. That's the uncertainty we live in, and so that's how it is. So,
Yeah.
like I really thank you for this podcast. I think so. This is the longest you have had or something.
Just
Okay, okay.
remembered his name. Okay, his name is Ankur.
Ankur.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, did you meet
Wariku.
him?
Okay. Yeah, I
Uh,
met him in
okay,
Chandigarh
okay.
University. He gave this lecture, which was amazing, and the way he clearly brought out these aspects of what is important and why entrepreneurship is important. I wish all youngsters were there sitting and listening to him that day. Beautiful,
Yeah, he
beautiful
was
talk.
there at the BTS as well. Like when we also met BTS 2025. He's an amazing speaker. One of my inspiration to
Yes,
start this thing. Like even in his life, I remember reading that it took
yes,
him almost 15 years to like at least get into this drive of he's also content creator. To get into that, it took him 15 years. Always experiment. So, very
exactly.
phenomenal, sir. Yeah. So ultimate.
And you should bring him on your show one day. You should bring him on your show and ask him some of these things.
Yeah.
Because he puts it so beautifully and simply that it becomes so clear. Why are we living here and why is some things
Yeah.
important?
Definitely,
It's
sir.
nice.
Definitely. I do plan on to that. Like, I'm really, it can't get bigger than this having you, but definitely, there's always room for growth, always room for improvement. That's what I'll strive for. Do whatever I can from my side. With people like you, always getting that 2.0 energy. I think so. There's no reason for younger people like us to get down or something. We should keep moving forward, irrespective of whatever that is, and keep on. So, like with that, I think so. This is the longest podcast you would have had by till now. Yeah, it's like reaching over 1 hour 30 minutes. But yeah, I thank you for that. Like I've pretty much asked everything. Always like we would really like to have it next year also. Like if you are free enough, let's see what is happening next because we have to be at this till the very end, like 2047 and beyond that.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to write that next edition of the book where I want to highlight people like you who will have achieved great things in the coming years. Okay, that's what that next book is really going to be about. And I'm itching to write that with success stories. We need success stories now. That's what's going to change India. That's what's going to change the
Yeah.
direction of our country. And that's what's going to ensure that we become that Vikasit Bharat by
Yes, sir, definitely.
2047.
So I would like to thank you. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. Sri Mupundu. Did I get that right? Yeah, I really
Yes,
like
yes,
to
yes. You
thank you,
got it.
Sri
Yes.
Mupundu. Like that's basically means sir is father of twin girls, two beautiful young women. So
Yes. My very proud
yeah,
achievement
yeah,
in life.
yeah.
Father
I
of
really like that name. So that's how I would like to end this as. Thank you, Shimo Pundu, and I'm really thankful for the podcast. So yeah, we'll surely get back to this.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
sir.
It's been a,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah,
So
yeah,
nice of you. Thank you so much.
yeah. You have
Okay, bye.
anything to say, sir, or we can?
No,
I'm
fine.
thank you. I'm
Thank you.
sorry for holding
All
you
good.
till this much time, but I really wanted to get my questions in.
I enjoyed speaking with you. It's been a very engaging conversation, and also, as I said, you bring a lot of maturity at that very young age into anything you are doing. Which is very nice to see, and it engages people and it brings them to the depth of
Yeah.
their
I
feelings.
always wanted to
So
have
it's
a
good.
conversation that too, especially with you right after that interview at QIB. I'm really thankful, and I'll see how it goes ahead in this journey. We'll surely make another one in the coming um, times. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Bye, sir. Bye, bye.
Bye.